Alright, so my name's Wyatt, and this is... Say your name, John. Say your name. Say it. Say it.
This is John Seeley.
Okay. Oh, well, now they know your full name, John. Now they'll get you. They'll find you. Anyhow, so this is our first podcast. It's kind of going to be a little bit unprofessional to a degree. And as the months go by, we'll eventually start getting better sound audio recordment. And start making podcasts. We want to do a podcast just about every week. So this serves as our introduction podcast, kinda. And this one's going to be very unorthodox because all our podcasts are going to have a theme to it, and that could be airsoft related, cartoons, D&D, role play, maybe even Magic the Gathering, etc. But they'll all have some kind of theme to it, except for this one. This one's going to be very generalized and kind of bounce all over the place. So me and John are just going to banter back and forth. And so the name that we're going to utilize for this is probably Two Guys. And then if we have an extra guest with us, then it'll be like Two Guys and a Gal, or Two Guys and a Guy, something like that. But it's primarily, as of right now, going to be me and John.
We have our whole group. It'll be like two guys and a guy and a guy and a guy and a guy and a guy.
a guy and a guy. Oh jeez. Oh man. So, but right now we are at Waffle House. Yeah, the place of dreams, kids.
The place that I go to think when I want a really good cup of coffee.
It's a really good place. I enjoy it. It's comfortable.
I gave it a really good review on Google, and that review actually has like over 500 thumbs up.
Over 500. Over 500.
It's weird.
I mean, like, I'll say this about Waffle House. Like, maybe not a lot of people enjoy it. I do. I enjoy it because it has a sense of kind of cozy feel to it and a very relaxed. So me and John, we've been going here for like a year now or so.
I would say just about a year and a half, close to 2 years.
For like every 2 to 3 days out of the week, so that's a lot of money spent. But
good money spent on good food.
Well, no, a lot of our ideas came from here, and so I guess our topics for this are probably going to consist of like our Fallout game, and then other people's roleplay games, and just whatever we think of next. So this, like I said, this one's going to be very broad. So, and again, we apologize for the sound. We'll work on that in future videos.
By the look of the microphone that I'm seeing on the feed, it doesn't look like the background noise is affecting it too much when we're quiet.
Woo. Huh? Well...
Oh, it is actually. Never mind.
Yeah. I did like a test recording beforehand. Anyhow, so...
Well, it kind of gives it kind of like a diner feel, you know, like that background diner feel.
Background diner feel. It made me lose my train of thought.
You guys need any more coffee?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
So,
you were talking about just stuff we were going to be talking about.
I feel like an old man. Yeah, back in my day. So, let's see. So, our Fallout game. So, we're planning for this, like, really big event. It's going to be our first 2-day event. And so, so we've got a lot on our plates and a lot planned. And right now we're trying to go through the, like, advertising stage of it all.
Oh, I hate that part.
Because, like, it's weird. Because the last Joplin Wasteland event we did saw, like, an unprecedented, like, amount of attention.
Over 1,090 people were interested.
See, we have 160 people interested, but I think our target audience is more defined this time around.
Right. More of those likes are going to actually show up.
Yeah, more of the interests are definitely going to show up here. And so I think as the time gets closer, we'll start seeing a lot more ticket sales. and go from there. But
not to mention that pretty soon I'm going to post a picture of my character, and then put out an ad saying that I'm recruiting.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of which, I had a group of people tell me that they were working on 2 suits of power armor, and they were going to be joining the Brotherhood of Steel.
Oh really?
Yes.
What?
He
Really?
showed me a picture of the suit he was working on. And
Where
it
do you
looked
get
really good.
these contacts from? He's just
I
like,
actually got contacted.
where do you get these people from?
I got 3 people contacting me last week.
Why?
And,
Okay.
well, just because I catch them, they're like, "Hey, can an admin message me?" And I'm
Get
like,
over here.
I'm like, "Yeah, come on."
So
I'm just like, "Yeah," and then so.
no, like the more the merrier.
Shout out to our power armor users.
Yeah, no, totally. We need more of them because they're going to be a unique key feature of our game, and so they're going to add an oomph to at least 1 or 2 of our factions.
It really stinks that some of those other guys can't make it.
Oh man, yeah, like Mike. Man, he had a great suit of like a T-51 power armor.
Was it T-51 or T-54?
I think it was T-51. I think it looked like it. But
It's phenomenal. I also contacted a few YouTubers and cosplayers
oh yeah,
for that power armor.
yeah.
Haven't heard anything back from them yet, but
I mean, it's worth a shot. So I think like this game is gonna serve as like a restart, and it's kind of our staple because the first game we did, it was a mixed bag. So we had very good publicity before and then after. It was really weird because the game itself, honestly, in my eyes and in John's eyes, it sucked eggs because we made a few mistakes.
Unprepared. We were unprepared.
Well, we were more prepared than like their traditional hosts were used to, like by far. Like, but it was like a rushed prepared. So
Ironic.
yeah, ironic indeed, due to our name. So, but this time around, we learned from our mistakes. We've changed the ammo system significantly.
Which is going to cut down on cheaters. I'm not calling anyone out.
Yeah.
But we had some people.
Well, see, like so the last ammo system we had, you pay to reload your mags, so you kept your ammo on hand. Well, the problem with this is many. 1, it was just way too much ammo to the players. But 2, players could cheat or could be provoked to cheat.
Yeah, they could. There's plenty of places where you can go in the water park where we play.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of places where you can go to be private.
Yeah.
For just a little bit.
But this ammo system is different. 1, before the game begins, before the 2-day event even begins, you have to turn in any ammo that you want to use. And you turn it in to the vendor that's going to be at your faction area, your faction headquarters, or your team headquarters. Because there's 2 factions per team. So for example, if you're on the NCR or town militia, you're going to give your ammo to Jacob, who will be a institute scientist, a runaway institute scientist, that will be reselling your ammo to you for the in-game currency, which will be caps. We're not going to tell you how the caps are going to look, because we don't want anybody countering the caps, but we have a certain way that we're going to make them look, and it'll make sense in-game lore wise too. So along the lines of like, oh, this kind of paint is like lead-based paint, so they're not radioactive. So simple as that. Anyways, and instead of buying ammo reloads, now you have to buy ammo individually. This means like 1 cap could equal 10.20s. And so the higher the weight goes, the more it costs. And the less you get for 1 cap.
Get like a single 40.
So
that'd be overkill, but
well, it's 4 pieces of ammunition for 1 nuke cap for .30s, so maybe like 2 .40s.
Oh, I don't think we should even bother with 40s.
Well, no, like we're not.
If someone has their own, though.
Yeah, if somebody has their own, and so that's another thing. We have 3 different types of ammunition that we will be supplying to vendors. So in case you don't bring ammo, or if you do, but you want to use the in-game ammo and not your own, because your in-game ammo given to that vendor will be labeled, and only you can pull from that unless you let a friend pull from it if he pays for it and whatnot.
Yeah, and just to keep us reminded, I had someone ask me if they were going to be using if we were going to be using mega darts for Nerf. So we need to make sure we get all kinds of Nerf ammunition.
Are those little spheres, or are
No,
they like
mega
big?
darts? Mega darts are thicker, longer, and heavier.
Okay, because I know that. Okay, well in that case,
And it takes a special launcher to launch
I
them.
know that there's like regular, and then there's the little sphere, the little ball ones, right?
Right.
I found
Those are
some,
the
like,
rivals.
some pretty cool white Nerf pistols that kind of look like Institute pistols, and you wouldn't have to mod them too much either. Honestly, you could probably leave them how they are. Maybe.
I might ease up on the whole you have to mod Nerf guns to look.
Well, yeah, definitely, because like so where we're doing this, it takes place in the Fallout world, in the mid-wasteland, so the Midwest, so the Plains Commonwealth, and we're actually putting it in Joplin, which is the real-life location and the in-game location that we're using. So that should be interesting and fun. And so it's a very industrialized center. So who's to say that there's not unique looking laser weapons that have been modded in the past 200 years by raiders or scientists or just in general companies made, you know? So I would say definitely say ease down on it. But if it's like blue and orange, paint it black. Or something again.
I would say that it has to be like a single color. Like it needs to be gray, black, brown, green, or white. And that's what I'm thinking.
I would have to say you don't have to go full out and mod your.
Well, I would say mod, but paint.
Yeah.
At least paint.
Yeah, at least paint it unless it already looks appropriate. Because I said,
some of those Nerf zombie killers, the Z strikes.
Well,
they look kind of pretty, they look interesting.
At Walmart here in Web City, there's a few white ones that look like Institute rifles or pistols.
And I've seen a red and yellow one. Not red and orange, but red and like Nerf orange. It's kind of yellowish. And I'm thinking about getting one of those. They're only $30, and they're the long strike.
Oh, cool! Nice.
And those things fire the long range darts, which could probably hit someone from here to Little Caesars.
Huh.
I'm serious. They fire that far.
So that's probably
almost 100 feet.
That's 100 feet. Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, I guess so. That's pretty crazy. And so for those of you that don't know, if you're just jumping in on this podcast and you haven't read the rules or you don't know about our event, we'll post a link down below in the description for our event. But there's two different primary weapon sources. I guess you could say three. The first one is airsoft guns. And so airsoft guns are as plain Jane. You get hit, you're out. You call your bleed out. Read the rules. They're in there. But bam, you're out. If
unless
it hits,
you're wearing armor.
Unless you're wearing armor. So if you're wearing the appropriate armor, which again are in the rule set, and you get hit there with an airsoft round, you're still in. But if you have a laser weapon, which are Nerf guns, and you get hit with a Nerf gun, it goes through your armor and you're bleeding out now. And then there's melee weapons, which are boffer weapons or plastic knives or rubber.
Yeah, try to ease away from plastic. We're working on. I saw that you messaged one of those guys and talked to him about a
Yeah,
Shiska bomb.
I did. And he basically stated hey, what could I do? I was like, he's like, could I use plastic and foam? I was like, yeah, as long as the blade itself is either camping foam or non-hardened EVA foam, it should be fine. Just, don't go be hitting people around swinging it full on a baseball bat.
All you have to do to kill someone with a boffer weapon is simply touch them.
Yeah, he said if he could use plastic dip on the blade, and I was like,
plastic dip?
Yeah, and
that doesn't really change the hardness much as it just makes it very, very durable.
Oh, yeah. But I told him, I was like, if you feel comfortable being hit with that weapon, and as long as you're not going around hitting people full on swinging a baseball bat, then I think it's fine. And he was
Yeah.
like, awesome. So yeah,
Because I've seen the classic people who understood they weren't supposed to hit hard just because the adrenaline is getting to them.
oh yeah, no, and so
Like you run up on a guy and there's like 4 guys and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, and you're just like smack, smack, smack.
well, and so I think this is going to be a bit different in the sense because there's airsoft guns and like Nerf weapons in this, so you have ranged combat much more than just a bow or a crossbow. So it's going to be radically different because you're not going to see guys go all out with melee. You might, but it's not going to be as common. Hopefully we can get some of the Legionnaires to work like that. That'd be kind of cool.
Now that my situation has changed, I'll be able to paint up a bunch of shields for the Legion.
Yeah,
Like a bunch of red and yellow shields.
that'd be cool.
I can think of 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, maybe 5.
I guess
4 and maybe 5 I can work up myself.
That could be like the Legion's bonus because like
I thought up another bonus that the Legion could get.
well they already get like the armor there, but okay, so like each team gets an initial bonus and then like a bonus that their vendor kind of sells that is not proprietary to them. Anybody else can buy it, but their vendor's right there with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Legion gets armor for their vendor. The Brotherhood of Steel gets black market laser weapons and heavy weapons. And then the NCR gets potentially mortars, and their Institute scientist, funny enough, is the only guy that really sells
He's the only guy that
laser
can
cartridges.
he's the only guy that can put Nerf darts into your clips.
Yeah.
And can sell you Nerf darts in packages.
Yeah. So
there'll be guys that will be able to sell a couple packages.
yeah, but he's going to be
But
like
he's the only guy who constantly supplies them.
the main one. So even though the Brotherhood and Gunners have access to a bunch of heavy weapons, they have to go into NCR territory most likely to get ammunition from that vendor. So they might have to make some kind of alliance there or something. So that'd be interesting.
Oh man, it'll be so great to see how the players react to having to go into enemy territory to get something they want.
Now, so one unique vantage that the Brotherhood of Steel have, and it's a little complicated, but they're the only ones that can have full-on power suits. Now, the Raiders, which we're calling them the Cogs in this, they're a Raider group, and they're the secondary faction to the Legion. So each team has 2 factions in it: the Brotherhood of Steel, and then the Gunners. The Legion and the Cogs. The Cogs are a Raider group, and then the NCR and the Town Militia. Okay, so with the Raiders, the Cogs, they get to have 1, maybe 2, depending on how many people we have, power armor users. However, their power suits have to be Raider-like. 1, 2. The only airsoft gun you can have is a pistol. So you can have a melee or a laser weapon, but you can have a shield, but you can't have a heavy giant machine gun like the Brotherhood of Steel, because the whole point of having a Raider suit is you're going to be a Raider. So the Raiders may not have access to necessarily heavy weapons, but they do have access to shields and melee weapons and pistols, etc. So that's really the only limit that we want to put on somebody using, because we don't want to say oh yeah, because you have a Raider power suit and you're on the Raiders, you can't use a gun. No, you can, but you have to use a sidearm. So that could be in the form of
because their armor is clunky, very improvised, very dangerous,
and it's designed primarily for melee engagements, according to lore, I think, right?
Yes, the lore was that the Raider clans had found some suits of power armor, or at least frames, and decided to create their own externals for these frames. And they decided that instead of making it very bulletproof, they were going to be using it for attacking fellow Raider clans.
I mean, not saying it isn't bulletproof,
right? But they put metal and external cages over it to stop melee from attacking them, and it was really kind of like a knight in shining armor for their clans.
So, in for our game, their power suits will work the exact same way every other power suit works, which will be the Brotherhood of Steel. But their suits will be a bit weaker. So, the only way to kill power armor users is either by explosions, so grenades, mortars, howitzers. EMPs can disable them for 30 seconds. They're blue smoke grenades. And
allowing you to run in there and knife the guy.
And then the other way to kill power armor users are laser weapons. And so power armor users have a set life bar. So when that life bar goes down, so say like a T-51 power suit would have 4 or 5 hits. So if he gets hit 4 times, let's say 5. If he gets hit 5 times with a laser weapon, or he gets hit like a mixture of 5 times with laser weapons and explosives, his suit goes down, he has to respawn.
And we're putting a time limit on their respawns based off of how beefy their power suit is.
Yeah.
Simulating that it has to be recovered, repaired, and retrained.
And so the big thing, though, is that power suits are completely immune to airsoft rifles. So this means you have to try to get up either close and personal or get a lucky shot off on a mortar. And so both could be potentially hard. We really want to bring home that these guys are going to be tanks, but they're not indestructible.
Like that's what the lore stated. Power armor was literally a one-man tank.
Yeah. And so that's the advantage for the Brotherhood. Now, the advantage for the Caesar's Legion and the Raiders, they have the vendors selling armor, but they also have shields. Now, shields work differently than armor. 1, shields can block melee weapons where armor can't. 2, shields can also block laser weapons. Armor can't. And 3, it can block BBs, like airsoft BBs. Armor can also block airsoft
Shield
BBs.
is the trump all to frontal fire.
Yeah, basically. And so the Legion, they're going to actually start off with a bunch of shields for their soldiers, their legionnaires to use.
And let me tell you, I've used a very small shield to block Nerf guns before.
So,
super easy.
Well, so like, how tall are you, John? You're like,
I'm 6'5".
Okay, so this guy's 6'5", and the last airsoft game we were at, I let him use my riot shield. Okay, so this thing's probably this thing's like what would you say, like 3 feet by like?
I actually looked up that actual shield. It is literally 3 feet tall.
Okay, so I was right. And then how wide is it?
About 1.5 feet.
Okay, so you take this big guy, and let me tell you, he's not skin and bones. He's got a bit of beef. He's got a bit of big boned on him, if you know what I mean, but not too much. Not too much.
Right.
Point is, this shield can't cover him fully, but he was still able to use it like a champ and a boss in a normal airsoft game. So in other words, that shield was his only protection. So
especially since
no, thank you.
Especially since I only had a pistol with a range of maybe. Thank you.
You need more. She's getting you coffee. Or,
doesn't really matter.
oh yeah, she is. Oh well.
It's okay.
Anyhow,
Especially since the pistol only had a range of maybe 40 effective feet to my car.
I would say like you could accurately hit people from here to Little Caesars potentially.
No, not with that pistol. For some reason, it wasn't able to accurately.
Was it your new one?
Yeah.
What were you using? .20s or .25s or what?
Pretty sure I was using 20s. They dropped off before actually reaching the target.
Well, was it? It was cold, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Very cold. Much colder than usual. In the summertime, I can ace people with that gun.
Yeah. He's a crack shot when it comes to pistols. But point is, shields are they're not overpowered, but they are like a godsend. So that's going to give the Legion a big advantage, especially since their headquarters is in a somewhat undeveloped part of the field. Now, we're going to try and beef up that part of the field and make it to where it's much more accessible for airsoft play and just in general. But their headquarters is going to be a little bit as of right now, it's a little bit it's hard to get to.
Inaccessible.
That one word.
Yeah. I was also thinking of something else. Do you remember how I told you about the man cards? It's a system we haven't put into the rules quite yet. Remember, like everybody would carry at least one man card on them for the day.
Oh yeah, I remember that. We haven't actually put that one in.
I think that should be something that only the Legion needs to worry about, because when they capture a NCR or a Brotherhood man card,
yeah,
that counts as taking a slave.
Well,
and the more slaves they have, the more victory points they'll contract.
Well, you could also have it like the other way around as well. So if everybody has man cards, you could have it to where like the NCR captured this many slaves because they have this many man cards. Not the NCR, the Legion. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the NCR's taking slaves now.
Taking slaves.
Apparently.
So.
Are we finished with your silverware?
I'll keep my spoons. Do you need to get going?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I'll go ahead and get the cream boxes. Just trying to kind of keep it a little bit clean.
Thank you.
No, you're fine.
I can't hold on to it. Are you sure you don't want any more coffee?
Yes, as of right now.
Okay. Is that a yes? You want more? Yes, no.
Not of right now. So,
Okay.
No thanks. So anyhow, let's see. We'll
Yeah, that's more for another time development.
But so point is you could have it to where each team has their own reason for collecting these man cards. Which so man cards are the equivalent to taking a slave or
capturing someone for interrogation or for conversion.
So for the aspect of gameplay, we don't want players to be out of the game for so long, because I think that'd be kind of unfair to them. It'd be a cool concept, but not everybody would enjoy it. So instead, everybody gets a man card at the beginning of the game for day 1 and day 2, and the faction with the most man cards at the end of that day gets a victory point for their team. And so victory points are what defines at the end of day 2 who wins and who loses. So we're going to make actual videos explaining like each of these details in a series. So this podcast just serves as just general talk. Anyhow,
I'm pretty sure that once our situation changes a little bit more, we'll be able to do videos where we film quite a bit of the things we're talking about.
Well, we could do, honestly, I feel we could do that with my phone. They wouldn't be like the best of quality, but it would still give like, what does this do?
I've already got a camera I can borrow. But I'm talking about where we are, right? Our locations.
Oh, yeah. So we're in the process of like moving right now and whatnot. So we're gonna be like moving to a place, and then like in a few weeks after this to a month, we're gonna be moving in another place, and then that'll be like our final place. So and then we can set up shop and start actually doing stuff. Which I want to start doing game playthroughs, and I want to do a game playthrough. It may sound a bit silly, but I want to do a game playthrough of Neopets, the Darkest Fairy. So to me, it is my childhood favorite game, and I still love it, even though I know it's outdated, and for the time it wasn't the best. But
we can do personal favorites series. Where like we do one of your personal favorites, and we can do one of mine. We can do one of Austin's, and maybe one of Curtis's.
Did you ever play Bully as a kid?
No, I did not. Did not have access to it.
It's like the Grand Theft Auto for kids.
Yeah, I know that much.
I loved it. It was so amazing.
Another game that I want to play through with you because you have not seen any of it and you have no idea about any of it or anything like that.
Idea.
Subnautica.
No, I have. I haven't played it, but I've watched playthroughs of it.
It's not been finished until just recently.
So is it now in the beta?
No, it is completely finished. 1.0 released.
Oh, really? Interesting.
It's now finished. It has an ending.
Oh, really? So,
yes, it has an ending.
That sounds
you can
cool.
finish it. The game is over.
I would love to do that with you. So.
Especially since now there's actually like events and scenes and cutscenes and stuff in it.
Oh, that sounds
that
cool.
you could actually have happen. And that's Subnautica. I want to play it so bad now that I've gotten an upgraded graphics card.
When I build gaming's PC, I wanna play through Fallout 4. And I bought the Game of the Year edition, but it doesn't even run on my laptop. I'm like, poop.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I
come on.
pre-ordered it. I was considering getting the Vault Boy pack.
Man.
Because that's how hyped I was for Fallout 4. Only to be let down.
Yeah.
When I finally got to play it on my friend's computer.
It's the downside of gaming PC. You got to have a lot of money.
There was probably like 1,000% hype
yeah.
for 100% game.
Like, wait,
right?
Oh, you mean actually getting to play the game? Like,
I mean, like, they advertised 1,000% of a game.
Oh, yeah.
Only for there to be maybe like 100% of a game.
Okay, Fallout 4.
For 100% of the game that there was.
Yeah.
There was like 1,000% advertised.
I mean, I'll say this because I've played Fallout 4 and I've played through the entire main quest and
no spoilers,
a lot of side quests, like a lot. And I got my character up to like level 40 or 50 or something.
Oh, that's funny because we cheated our guy up to like level 100.
Oh, man.
Like with the console commands.
Well, so I went along the charismatic route, and I went along the charismatic, long range, and pistol approach, and I never used power armor. In fact, the armor I used was the Silver Shroud armor, and then I went through the quests to get that stuff upgraded.
I didn't like how they gave you power armor right away. I didn't like that. I mean, the power armor was great, don't get me wrong.
But it's not OP, because when you go against that Deathclaw, he can still, like, murder you, like, really easily, so...
Not really, he didn't get halfway to me.
Well, did you have perks for, like, power armor or heavy users?
No, we hadn't cheated anything in at that point.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, when you leveled up. Because you had to level up at least once, or twice.
Yeah, we leveled up to level 2 before we got to the power armor.
And that was with the Minutemen, right? Like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we went. I'm not sure if we even made it to level 2 actually. We went straight there, right?
Okay.
That was the first quest we did.
Yeah.
Was helping them, and the minigun just destroyed the
See,
Deathclaw.
when I play through it again, I want to get mods for it, and I want to mod the beans out of it, and I want the mods to be not like wacky, but I want them to be like it gives more unique Minutemen. It gives more of a more unique things to do with the Minutemen and other factions. And if I can find a mod that can change the endings, then I'll do that. Because honestly,
oh my gosh, the ending was so disappointing.
It's so disappointing because it's like either you help the Institute or you don't.
Well, no, basically the thing is that the ending wasn't really disappointing in the fact of how your endings were chosen, but it was basically that you finish the game, and then the ending is like, well, that's the game, it's over, one never changes, the end.
Yeah.
There was no conclusion.
And it's like, I want to see...
And it was like that for every ending.
I want to see more consequences for your actions. I want to see more consequences for your actions. So, for
like
example...
in Fallout New Vegas.
I've never
tied up all the loose ends at the very end of the game.
Oh, yeah, didn't it have like a narration at the end?
It had a narration
based
of
on what
every
you did?
faction that you encountered.
And what you did.
And what you did to influence them, and what you did to like destroy them, help them, everything.
One thing I do want to do, I don't know if you know this, you probably did. They have mods for Fallout 4, and they take the engine of Fallout 4 and
they
turn
remake New Vegas.
They've remade New Vegas, and I think they've remade Fallout 3.
Yes, recently I just saw that.
So that would be really cool because playing on updated graphics and an updated an updated engine with better shooting mechanics. Because one of the reasons why I never was turned on to Fallout 3 or New Vegas, but I loved the idea of Skyrim and Oblivion slightly. Again, I didn't want to play Oblivion too much. I do now, but I want to play it with a Fallout 4. Fallout 4 engine. No, I want to play it with the Skyrim updated
because
engine.
in New Vegas and in 3, it did not matter if you were aiming down the sights.
Oh yeah, and see that's
if you shoot in the general direction of an enemy, it's based off your gun skill whether or not you hit them even.
And see, I don't like that. I like
the gun skill to determine how much damage you do.
Yeah, exactly.
And basically how much accuracy your guns have.
In VATS.
But ultimately, if you aim down the sights, or how much sway your gun has.
Yeah, okay, there you go, yeah.
But if you aim down the sights, ultimately, you should hit what the sight is aiming at.
Yeah, or based on the physics of the gun.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what turned me away, because I was like, I don't want to use this VAT system. And so you'd be like, well, what would you rather play, Oblivion or New Vegas? I'd rather play Oblivion, because at least in Oblivion, the stuff I hit, I'm going to do damage to, right? At least that I know of. I don't think they had a dice roll system on it.
No, they didn't.
I think Morrowind did.
It was essentially...
Morrowind had that.
Well, Morrowind, I know did, had... Basically, will you even do damage if you hit them?
Yeah, exactly.
And I know that Oblivion had something similar, but I'm not sure what it was.
I don't know if they did. Right?
But it was essentially, based on your skill, you would or would not do damage.
And see, I feel like if you're hitting in that general direction, you should do damage to that thing, unless, of course, they have an active, Dark Souls, they block or dodge or something, but... Yeah, I think that'll be very exciting. Back to the Fallout our game. So, we want to have it be our own thing, and we've learned a lot from the Fallout Kansas City guys, just on how they operate, but our game has a lot of radical differences in our rule sets than they do. From ammo...
Not that their games aren't good. Their game was great. I was there for one of them.
Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to, because I'm in the military, and if you're in the military, well,
you don't get to choose when and where you are.
Yeah, forget about having fun when you want.
Yeah,
usually.
But I was there for one of the games. The upsides, everyone had a lot of fun, and it was everyone was running around just crazy wasteland. It was great.
The big thing is they had an outreach to role players. Our big problem is we have an outreach to airsofters, but not very many role players. And so that's a problem we're struggling, and then we're trying to redefine what we do and who we are. So we're still going through this transition phase, and it's a little hard right now. So, but we'll get there. We just gotta honestly... All we got to do is just make sure our game is the best we can do and improve from our last game and improve when we do our next game and just keep going. We'll try to do one of these kind of wasteland roleplay events either every 6 months or at the minimum every year. Have one every year. And if we do it every year versus 6 months, I feel we could get a whole lot more put down in stone and just be hype it up so much and have the logistics that we built from the year previous onto this one. So it's we're using the same engine, but we're improving on it.
Right.
So it's like Skyrim, then Skyrim with DLC, and then Skyrim with mods.
Right.
And so that's what the approach we want to take with this, and we want to do this a yearly event, and in between we either have little themed battles that lead up to the next one, and so it's an ongoing story. So even though the chapter might end, for example, this is the climax of this chapter, which is the Brotherhood of Steel found a bunch of nukes. The Midwest Brotherhood of Steel, I might add. And so they have more of an honor knight approach, protecting the civilians and whatnot of the wasteland. And they've got to get those nukes out of there to their headquarters. And so they're in the process of trying to get them out. Well, the Legion heard about this, and so a raiding party's down there causing trouble. Well, then the NCR heard about the Legion, and so they're after the Legion, and now they ran into the Brotherhood, and they're like, oh, well, crap, the Brotherhood has these nukes, we need to do something. And bear in mind, in our story, this is honestly probably going to be like the first contact that the NCR has with the Midwest Brotherhood of Steel. So they're used to the Brotherhood of Steel
tyrannical
in the West.
Yeah, tyrannical, mad with power.
Isolated, more about preserving technology than preserving people. Whereas the Midwest Brotherhood is more about using the technology to preserve the people. Right. It's kind of weird because you have two, essentially, in our eyes, two main good guys and then a bad guy. I guess you could see the other one as a good guy, but really, in our modern society, somebody that takes slaves and, is barbaric in nature, I would consider them a bad guy. But that's open to interpretation. But let's just say, for the sake of convenience, it's kind of weird because you have two good guys versus a bad guy. But the thing is, it's a three-way battle. And so the problem is, it's like, well, hold on a second. It'd be like, it's like you have like, say, Nazi Germany, and then the North and South, like Civil War. So like North and South Civil War, like, and whatever you think, whatever faction is, like, for example, let's just say the Brotherhood of Steel, the Midwest, is like the North, the Union, and then the NCR are like the South, the Confederate. You may think it's the other way around, whatever. But then you also have, like, straight up, like, Nazis in this. And it's like, well, wait a second. Like, who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? And let's for the sake of convenience...
They all have their own point of views.
Yeah.
So not necessarily anyone is the good guy, and not necessarily anyone is the bad guy.
And if
much as it's just a bunch of conflicts in faction wars.
Yeah, and so, like,
The Raiders and Caesar's Legion are pretty much just a bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm talking about the other two factions.
Yeah, and so let's say, for that example, I know it's just an example, so we might, if people watch this or listen to it, they might be like, what? But let's just take slaves out of the South, and so it's just the South versus North. No slaves. I know that's not what would happen, but anyhow, it's just the example, because some people think the South is good, some people think the North was good. And so that's the same case with the Brotherhood, the Midwest Brotherhood, and then the NCR.
We're just talking about that's how closely they're fighting.
Yeah. And so
brothers are fighting here.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
that's how close the fighting is.
Yeah, it's like two brothers fighting, and then a bully comes in
and just starts fighting too.
So it's like, well, wait a second, who's the and so anybody could ally with anybody or just keep to themselves. And so that's the beauty how we have this one set up, I feel. And we'll just have to see how it turns out. And we'll have to see how our new ammo mechanics turn out. I think the new ammo mechanics are going to turn out amazing, like how we have it set up. As long as people follow those rules.
Yeah.
And we have a good amount of people.
And we're reaching 45 minutes, which is usually the max that most podcasts reach in just about any case. Per episode, yeah.
What do you want to stop it at?
Probably 45 would be fine.
Yeah.
And if we want to do more, we'll just record another episode.
Yeah. So I guess this could end like episode 1, random talk, just about stuff in general. I guess we could go on for another minute or two. So did you hear about G5, Generation 5?
Supposedly,
Yeah.
yes.
So what we're talking about is a show, and I know some of you may be like, "Oh," but so I'm a cartoon fanatic, and I don't know about John here.
I'm more of a meme fanatic.
Memes. Do you know the way?
Do you know the way?
Oh, man. So,
you do not know the way.
do you know the way? Yes, I know the way of cartoons and G5. No. So okay, so what is G5? G5 stands for Generation 5, and it's of MLP, My Little Pony. So I know some of you may be like, what? But so it's a cartoon, so it's something to discuss by cartoons, and maybe like, well, what about Dora the Explorer? I'd be like, okay, there's a line that we won't go over. That line is like, is this for preschoolers and tiny children? We're not going to review it.
I'm just saying. Watch the time travel episode. Which season finale was that?
Oh yeah! Oh, that one was amazing. It was so cool.
Just watch that one episode alone and tell me this isn't for kids and adults at the same time, but mostly for adults.
It's a family show. It's a family show.
show.
And that's what the creator intended it for. So for some of you that may be like, "Ah, My Little Pony's stupid." Well, I'll ask you this. Did you like Dexter's Laboratory? Did you like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends? And because if you like those, Craig McCracken was one of the. He was like.
Are you guys still doing okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and if you like Powerpuff Girls, if you like those three things, Craig McCracken had a good hand, I believe, in Dexter's Laboratory. He created Powerpuff Girls, and he created Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Lauren Faust, I don't know, like, she was married to him, right?
I'm not sure about Married To, but I know that they worked together on all those projects.
She worked on, I think, all three of those projects. And so she's had amazing skill, and she created the show, and she was heavily involved in season 1 and 2, which are honestly one of the two best seasons.
I'd say season 1 is so far the best, and the best season after that would be maybe like 4.
Sombra.
Sombra, yes.
I don't like what they did to him. He was so cool, and then they're like, "No, we're not gonna
continue.
Not gonna continue."
Even though we left it completely open.
Anyways, so G5 is a new generation of this, and so it stirs up a lot of controversy, like a lot of mixed feelings, and so I'm excited for it. I want to see something new. I think this will give it a new spin, and I've overheard it's going to be more meant for adults than children, so it's going to have more of an adult rating. So who knows? We might be able to see blood, because I feel like blood in any kind of cartoon.
It's dramatic.
If used appropriately, like Samurai Jack in the reboot Samurai Jack, it just ups it. If you know how to use it right. If you know how to use blood right, it just ups it. It's like, whoa, okay, this is more for adults. This isn't for children.
I doubt that's going to happen, but if I'm wrong, I was wrong on how strange that one season got towards the end. You know, where they were bringing in hyper-realistic like puppets and stuff. Like actual real puppets and stuff like that in My Little Pony.
Which episode?
Mostly the cheese sandwich episode.
Oh yeah, that one.
That one had some hyper realistic moments and was just strange.
But I think they have the potential to make it pretty good.
Yeah.
So, hey, that's that. So Magic the Gathering, moving to that, general talking. I gotta work on my the decks I have, and just update them because I know a lot of new expansion packs have came out since then.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to wait on that because that can get pricey. I want to build that poison counter deck, the one where I can kill you like in potentially 2 turns.
4.
No, it was 2.
Was it 2 really?
Yeah. I calculated it. I could potentially kill somebody in 2 turns with that.
I thought you had to have like 4 counters to die.
You have to have 10 counters.
10 counters, was it?
10 poison
I
counters.
get what you're saying now.
But it's basically like I boost the beans out of one creature or multiple creatures.
And if they have the poison effect, they
And-
can actually deal damage to a player
Yeah.
and then give them poison counters.
So,
Right.
Yeah. And so the cool thing is with poison counters is if there's poison counters left over, it'll transfer to the player, I think. So,
Yeah, on trample.
yeah. Well, no, I don't even think on trample. Think like, I gotta look into that again.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I just love my Huatli deck.
Your what?
My Huatli deck.
Have I seen that in action yet?
Not yet.
Oh.
Well, actually, it was the one that I tightened you guys on at that Springfield game.
Oh, that one, yeah.
Yeah, but I've modified it heavily since then.
See, I feel like you guys keep improving
made
your
it-
decks,
I've
like
made it-
building off of each other, but
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like I bring out something new. It's like smashes you guys, and you guys have to like rethink everything.
Yeah. But I've heavily modified it, and on turn 6, I can put out a 7-mana creature.
7 mana. Like, okay, so what? How much defense and stuff? Like attack, defense.
I've been able to put out a...
Wasn't that one guy that? Oh yeah, he doesn't he like? He gains strength based on how many creatures are in everybody's graveyard.
No, actually, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What's his special abilities?
No, I'm just saying in general, because I have Kinjali's Collars, and then a certain card like War Priest, something like that, that basically make it cost 1 less mana to cast a dinosaur spell.
Oh, okay.
So basically, I can basically on turn 6, I can cast a 7 mana for only 2 mana.
Oh. Okay, I see what you're trying to say.
On turn 6, I can summon multiple
I think it was
dinosaurs.
on turn 4, I could be hitting you if I'm using my my artifact deck. I could hit you with a either a 20 or 21.
21.
Well, yeah, potentially. I think it's more along the lines of a 2020 because that 21 is if I have that artifact creature that gives other artifact creatures +1/+1. Anyways, but I can have a 2020 with trample and indestructible coming swinging right at you on turn 4, which is pretty scary. It's kind of like you're not expecting it at first because I may not have very much mana on the field from the looks of it, but with my mana combos, it's like bam, bam, bam. What are you doing? Bam. And then it's like, okay, he's just a 10/10, but still, that's like, but he's a defender. He can't attack next turn. So if you've never played against me with that, it's like, oh, okay, that's not that bad. Next turn, oh crap, bam, you're either dead or about dead. You can't really do anything because like you'll die if you don't have extra health or you don't defend but if you defend, chances are in turn 4. Your strongest creature is now dead, and chances are, you're not going to have anything to counter that, unless it's like you're running like a blue deck, and you're like, return target creature to the hand. Well, it's like, well, okay, I just put him back out. So it's kind of like, because all that mana. And so, or exile. Exile would probably be the worst option with that, but you can't destroy him. So it's kind of... So, anyways, I guess I'm gonna end our podcast. I guess I'm gonna end our podcast as of right now, and we'll try to put out at least one every week if possible, and then about a month from now we'll have more of a set schedule, and it'll probably be Thursdays as of right now.
The audio quality will be definitely better.
Oh yeah. Anyhow, all right. I guess that's it.